Have you ever wondered what happens when a city's heartbeat starts to fade? When the once bustling streets grow quiet and the vibrant energy of a community begins to dim? It's a thought that seems like something out of a movie, but for some American cities, it's becoming a stark reality. Today, we're taking a closer look at a phenomenon that's quietly reshaping parts of the country. We're exploring 20 American cities that are facing significant challenges, leading some to say they're on a path toward becoming modern-day ghost towns. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about understanding the complex forces at play, from economic shifts to population changes, that are causing this transformation. So, buckle up as we journey across the nation to see what's really happening. Let's start in the industrial heartland. Cities like Detroit, Michigan, and Cleveland, Ohio are classic examples. For decades, they were the engines of American manufacturing. The auto industry in Detroit and steel in Cleveland provided stable, well-paying jobs for generations. But as industries globalized and automated, those jobs began to disappear. This wasn't an overnight collapse, but a slow, grinding decline. When the main source of employment leaves town, it creates a domino effect. People leave to find work elsewhere, the population shrinks, and the city's tax base erodes. This means less money for schools, for road repairs, for public services. You see empty storefronts, abandoned factories, and entire neighborhoods with more vacant houses than occupied ones. It's a story of a dream that, for many, has faded, leaving behind a shell of former glory. Moving south, we find cities like Jackson, Mississippi, and Birmingham, Alabama. Their stories are a bit different, but lead to similar challenges. Jackson has been grappling with severe infrastructure problems for years, most notably a failing water system that has left residents without clean running water for extended periods. When basic necessities like water become unreliable, it's a powerful push factor. Families and businesses can't thrive in that kind of uncertainty. Birmingham, once a major industrial center of the South, has also struggled to pivot its economy. While it's seen some revitalization in recent years, it still faces high poverty rates and population loss as people seek opportunities in booming Sunbelt cities like Atlanta or Nashville. The legacy of history and the struggle for economic diversification paint a complex picture of decline. Out west, the story changes again. Think of places that were once boomtowns for different reasons. Let's consider some smaller communities in states like West Virginia, tied to the coal industry. As the nation shifts toward cleaner energy sources, the demand for coal has plummeted. Towns whose entire existence was built around the mines are now facing an existential crisis. There are no new industries rushing in to fill the void. Young people grow up knowing that to have a future, they likely have to leave. This creates a brain drain and leaves behind an aging population in towns that are slowly hollowing out. The sense of community is strong, but the economic foundation has crumbled beneath them, leaving a future that's deeply uncertain. Now, let's talk about a city that might surprise you: St. Louis, Missouri. Located at the confluence of the Mississippi and Missouri rivers, it was once one of America's largest and most important cities, the gateway to the West. But for the past 70 years, St. Louis has experienced one of the most dramatic population declines of any major American city. Its population peaked in 1950 at over 850,000 and has since fallen by more than half. The reasons are complex, involving suburban flight, racial tensions, and the loss of its manufacturing base. While the downtown area has seen investment, many neighborhoods are struggling with vacancy and neglect. It's a stark reminder that even cities with rich histories and iconic landmarks are not immune to the forces of decline. What about the impact of natural disasters? New Orleans, Louisiana is a prime example. The city was already facing economic challenges before Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005. The storm was a catastrophic event that displaced hundreds of thousands of people. While the spirit of New Orleans is undeniably resilient and many parts of the city have bounced back with incredible vibrancy, the recovery has been uneven. Some neighborhoods, particularly lower income and predominantly black communities, never fully recovered. The population is still smaller than it was before the storm. It shows how a single event can dramatically accelerate a city's decline, washing away not just homes, but entire communities that may never be the same. Let's head back to the Rust Belt, to cities like Flint, Michigan, and Gary, Indiana. Flint became infamous for its water crisis, a man-made disaster that destroyed public trust and had devastating health consequences. This crisis compounded decades of economic hardship following the decline of General Motors. Who wants to move to a city where you can't trust the water? Gary, Indiana, located just outside of Chicago, was founded by U.S. Steel. As the steel industry contracted, so did Gary. The city is now famous for its thousands of abandoned buildings, including homes, schools, and churches. Driving through parts of Gary is a surreal experience, a glimpse into what happens when a city's single economic pillar collapses entirely. It's not just large cities. Many smaller post-industrial towns are facing the same fate. Consider Youngstown, Ohio, or Scranton, Pennsylvania. These were once thriving communities built on steel and coal. People had a strong sense of identity tied to their work and their city. But as those industries faded, so did the opportunities. These cities are now working hard to reinvent themselves, focusing on healthcare, education, or technology. But it's an uphill battle. They are competing against cities with more resources and established tech hubs. The transition is slow and difficult, and in the meantime, the population continues to shrink as young people move away in search of better prospects. So what do all these places have in common? It's a perfect storm of factors. First, the decline of a single dominant industry, whether it's manufacturing, coal, or steel. When the main employer leaves, the economic heart is ripped out of the community. Second is population loss. This creates a vicious cycle. As people leave, the tax base shrinks, leading to worse public services, which encourages even more people to leave. Third, we see infrastructure decay. Roads, bridges, and water systems fall into disrepair because there's no money to maintain them, making the city less livable. Finally, there's the social impact, a loss of hope and a feeling of being left behind. But here is the crucial point. This is not the end of the story for these cities. Many are fighting back with incredible creativity and resilience. In Detroit, grassroots organizations are turning vacant lots into urban farms, creating food security and community hubs. In cities like Buffalo, New York, which also suffered massive population loss, an influx of immigrants and refugees is helping to stabilize neighborhoods and open new businesses, breathing new life into the community. Artists and entrepreneurs attracted by low property costs are moving into places like Cleveland and St. Louis, starting new creative scenes and small businesses. There's a movement to reinvest and rebuild from the ground up. The future of these 20 cities isn't written in stone. They are at a crossroads. They can either continue on the path of decline and become true ghost towns, or they can find new ways to thrive. It requires bold leadership, strategic investment, and, most importantly, the belief of the people who still call these places home. It's about diversifying the economy, investing in education, and rebuilding a sense of community. The journey is long and filled with challenges, but the story of the American city has always been one of change and reinvention. The question is whether these cities can write a new successful chapter for themselves. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey across America. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but it's important to understand what's happening in our own backyard. If you found this discussion interesting, please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next exploration. What are your thoughts? Do you live in one of these cities or a city facing similar challenges? Share your experience in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.